I'm Alicia.
And I'm Maddie.
And welcome to the Fangirl Diaries, a podcast where we talk about our obsessions,
Reminisce about our teen icons,
and explore the books, movies, and shows that made us the incredibly nerdy 30-somethings that we now are. Hello, Maddie.
Hi, Alicia.
We're back.
We're back. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think, are we calling this season 3?
Or maybe even season 4. I can't remember. We decide on seasons just at random when we kind of accidentally take breaks and then we start a new season.
Yeah, we're like, okay, today we have quite a few bits to talk about and record. So we're like, it's a new season.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back.
And we have chosen to record something that is very much in the public consciousness right now.
Yeah, this is a recent obsession, not like one of our old school age obsessions.
Oh yeah, this is now.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to talk about how I wonder if we're really into it. Like, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Because of our brain chemistry from school.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching something that is giving me all the nostalgic feels that I felt in 2009.
Yeah. And what is that, Alicia, that we're talking about today?
I am so happy that we are going to talk about The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yay! Yes! So Alicia has been trying to make me watch this basically since it first came out. I think you watched it as it came out, the first season. You just watched it right away. And immediately you were like, Maddie, this is something that you are going to love. You have to watch this. And for whatever reason, I just didn't watch it for 2 years or something.
I tried to find 2 video notes, but I've swapped phones since then.
Oh,
I know I sent you. I know I did.
Oh, no.
One after the first episode of season 1.
Yeah.
Where I just knew within one episode that this was gold.
Yeah.
And I was really emotional about it. And I was like, Maddie, this is about best friends and they go to a house. But it's also about their families and you must watch this. And then I also did a voice note or video note after the Conrad and Belly almost kiss on the pier to False God.
Yeah.
Being like, I don't know if you've taken my advice yet, but if you haven't, please sit down and watch this show immediately. And how many years has it been since then?
I think it's been 2 years. Well, it must be because season 3 is coming out right now.
Season 3. So, okay, to be clear about the scope of this episode and where we're both at in our viewing journey, we are going to, at this moment in time, record our thoughts on season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Possibly across 2 episodes, but we've both watched both of those. And season 3 is currently on television. So we are in the middle of, for those of you on this journey, the agonizing period of waiting for Wednesday, waiting for the episode. And I am watching season 3, but Maddie is saving it.
I've just finished season 2 so that we can have this conversation, but I haven't yet started any of the episodes from season 3.
So the crucial disclaimer over both of our discussions about these 2 seasons is that we are bringing no season 3 knowledge to this discussion.
No spoilers.
Madeline genuinely has no knowledge of season 3, and I am pretending that I have none.
Okay.
And doing no spoilers.
Okay.
Which is fun, actually, because I feel differently about season 1 and 2 in retrospect because of season 3. But in preparation for this, it's been fun to remember how I felt about season 2. And I certainly felt a particular way, which we will discuss.
Nice.
So, when did you start season 1?
It wasn't that long ago. It was just maybe a couple of months ago or a few weeks ago. And yeah, I basically did it because everyone was really excited about season 3 and you guys were watching it and getting excited. And I thought, right, I've got to finally catch up.
We were hounding you. There was hounding. there was pressurizing and hounding.
And it was really interesting. I'll be interested because it's interesting that you say that you got excited after the first episode, because I would have to say that as I started watching it, I did think, oh no, maybe I've finally got to the age where I'm so distant from school drama that maybe I'm finally not able to relate to the 15-year-old drama anymore. And whereas at the time that age felt so vital and important, and like the key most important years of your life were like between the age of like 15 and 19 or whatever. It was like the most important. And even through my 20s and whatever, you kind of like watched these shows and looked back at that time as this like really important and life-defining part of life. I kind of started watching it and suddenly thought, oh no, am I just now at the point where like that isn't the most important part of my life anymore? And does that mean that I can no longer like fully relate to caring about teenage drama anymore? And that's how it kind of started. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to really disappoint Alicia. I'm going to be like
the podcast episode is dead in the water.
Yeah. And I think I'd be interested to know like what it was about the first episode that captured you, but it definitely took me until about like, I think it was the 4th episode when there was much more of the like, I don't know, the drama between the three of them was really developing, and it felt a bit more mature than just like the introductions to these characters before I started to like really get into it. And then I was just like watching it really fast.
Do you remember a point where you thought, I'm in?
I think I said to you it was episode 4.
Yeah, I think that's the kiss on the pier.
Which is the kiss on the pier. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh,
okay,
this is tasty.
Yeah, exactly.
You see Jeremiah firework in hand, and you think, this is taking a turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. Yeah, that is definitely a moment. I watched it in a moment of needing some, what I thought was like trashy television. I actually had no idea that it was as big a deal as it was. I had no idea that it was books. I'd never heard of Jenny Han. And I watched it when I was having one of the most terrible summers of my whole life. My would-be wedding was collapsing, which we'll probably talk about next episode, and needed to put something on.
Yeah.
And found it immediately extremely nostalgic and comforting, because that teenage space is somehow my mental safe space. So, and like, I feel like the components of who I am, even now, like double the age later, are that period that you outlined.
Yeah.
Because it's somehow the time of like extraordinarily heightened emotions and drama.
Yes.
And this show does that so well, of showing these tiny moments of who buys who a necklace for their birthday.
Yeah.
And it somehow shifts the cosmos.
Yeah.
And that is how it was. So I enjoyed tapping into this because I thought, oh, I love this kind of, I love this age bracket in a nostalgic way.
Yeah.
But also found, and this gave me a bit of a similar scare to you, that I was really engaged with the parent drama.
Yeah.
In season 1. I sort of thought, and I liked that because we're probably closer to, and as you know, I tried to work this out because I was really frightened by it. Yeah. We are exactly between the teenagers and the parents.
For sure.
Age-wise.
Yeah. Because we're a good, we have not got teenage children.
No.
We also are a very long way from being teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah. Mathematically, we're actually in between the two.
Yeah.
And I found it somehow really reassuring that the parents, and especially in season 1, which we'll talk about first, like have sometimes as cool drama and as interesting bits in the script as their own children.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a show where the parent generation are relegated to being the buzzkills and the people who the teenagers are like rebelling against, or who are trying to lock down their fun or shut it down. There were bits where like, I think the parents get high before the teenagers do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Like, Laurel gets a sex scene in season 1.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. So that really got me. And then I went to Mykonos with Petra, and we always watch some sort of season. And I don't think I even sorry, Petra, I don't think I even let there be a discussion. I was like, we have to watch this.
Yeah.
And I think we maybe watched the entire thing in 48 hours and were yelling at it by the end. You know, when Conrad stands up to do the dance at the dead ball, we were like, oh my God. So invested were we in this show. Okay, but back to the sort of overarching magic of it. So everyone now agrees that it is good. Like, its like quality rating is really high. This is universally acknowledged to be quite good. But why do you think this is like such a good example of this format, if you think that it is?
Yeah, well, I think it is a classic example of this format, and I think it uses a lot of the like the things that we've seen, as you said, like from shows that we love in the past, but like almost somehow modernizes them. Like the things that I think are like a classic part of it is, you know, there's a love triangle that everyone gets to like have their side, and we get to fight about it and like get, you know, feel really strongly one way or the other. That really helps. I think the central character has to be somebody that you can like really relate to, kind of no matter who you are as well. Like she's distinctive enough as a personality. She's not boring, but you can kind of put yourself in her shoes.
Do you relate to Belly? Like, why is she relatable to you?
I think she's relatable because she's someone that's navigating what does it mean to go from just being the little kid to being something else. And everyone has to go through that, no matter whether you're a woman or a man or a like super hot person or a not that hot person. Everyone goes from like, oh, I was a little child and now I'm not part of that group anymore. I'm now kind of finding my place in this like kind of half adult world of love and romance or whatever.
Yeah. And the dynamics have changed, which is what's expressed in the title, which is otherwise a really clunky title. I find like The Summer I Turned Pretty. It also makes it almost unwatchable too. Like when I try and tell Luke to watch this or I'm suggesting it to someone for the first time, it's a title that you're almost embarrassed to say because it sounds a bit silly.
Yeah, it makes it sound like it's only about looks or it's only about, but actually her looks don't actually like change dramatically. She like goes from being an awkward kid to like a pretty normal, like lovely looking teenager, but she's not like, oh, suddenly it's not about fashion or about like makeup and whatever. She just like she's grown up. It's more about that feeling of coming into yourself as a young woman. Yeah. Rather than actually like her looks in any particular way.
Yeah, which is why I think it's clever in season 1 that we get the trope of the debutante ball. Yeah. Which they make fun of and do explain is an archaic tradition of like introducing a young woman into society. But season 1 is about introducing Belly into society. Yeah, society in this case being just teenagehood. Yeah. And that is such an immediately relatable dynamic that structures the whole opening of the show, which is like everyone remembers those, and like when it was as a teenager, as a girl, when you start to realise, oh my God, a boy just looked at me. Like, because there was a point at which they didn't and they don't. Yeah. Or they do in a playgroundy way. Yeah. And that's what we understand to have been the previous dynamic between Jeremiah, Conrad and Belly. It's very much children playing as friends.
Yeah, and they were like her brother's friends as well. Like, they were her friends, but they were like her brother's older friends, and she was the silly young one that they all throw in the pool, and like, you know, they all play these like silly games where she's just kind of part of the rough and tumble of like boys playing around. Yeah. And then this year she's just, there's clearly like immediately something different.
Actually, maybe this is a good moment to give a 2-second summary for anyone who either hasn't watched this, but again, in which case you'll be confused about our discussion, or if you're in the trenches of season 3 to remember nostalgically where we were in season 1. Yeah. So the concept of the show is that 2 lifelong best friends, Susanna and Laurel, spend every American summer, which is a longer summer than we maybe have in, so we're recording this in the UK, spend every American summer in Susanna's family's beach house.
Which, amazing beach house.
When people say beach house, I envisage one of those, you know, in Brighton, you can get one of those like huts.
Yeah, like a beach hut. No. Yeah. This is like a 8-bedroom mansion with like servants and like...
When people online have been saying that Belly is just after the house, when I watch it back, I'm like, okay, fair. Yeah, like that. It is this ridiculous, beautiful, like infinity pool near the beach house. And they go every summer. And both of the women bring their respective children, who have all grown up together. So we have Belly and her brother Stephen, and then we have Jeremiah and Conrad, who were brothers. And season 1 opens with Belly turning 16, and it's the start of the summer, and the dynamic has changed between them all. And
I
it's just
think
such
it's
a
really
great
interesting
concept.
looking back. You notice the dynamics changed mostly immediately because Jeremiah immediately like smiles at her in like this way where you can tell as soon as she gets out of that car that he's infatuated. He's the one that's interested immediately. And you can tell it, but Belly
can't tell it.
Doesn't notice.
Yeah. Well, this is the second part.
Interesting.
This is the second part of the concept, which is, as you alluded to, with Team X and Team Y.
Yeah.
This is a classic love triangle situation where both of the brothers, Conrad and Jeremiah, have to deal with their feelings towards her, which in both cases is they both love her.
Yeah.
Totally a shock to her. Not at that stage, not at season 1. Season 1, they fancy her.
What's the right word here for that age? It's hard to know.
Yeah. But it is interesting to see a love triangle played out where, they fancy her in season 1. But as soon as it becomes a little bit more, it's always going to get as serious for both of them as it does, which is why the show is so painful to watch. Because they have known her for so long. Their length of caring about her is going back to memories of when they're 4 years old.
Yeah, they've got truly like a base of real friendship and almost like familial love already, which means that, if they are going to do something, they have to take it seriously because this is not just like some girl that they can mess around.
Yeah.
Because they all really care about each other.
Yeah, and that's a clever dynamic that's played out across all the seasons, which is that what's on the line in this love triangle is not just who gets Belly and how do the brothers handle this between themselves. It's as soon as this starts to get messy, it impacts and ruins the entire dynamic of the group because if there is tension between those three, Stephen's going to get dragged into it. The parents are going to get dragged into it. And I realise there would be no show without this, but there's some call when people are saying, like, Belly, I can't believe you started something with either of these guys.
Yeah. You probably should have just stayed away.
You probably should have just not.
Yeah. And actually what's really interesting is because there's this extra framing around it, which I think we'll probably get into more, which is that Susanna, which is Jeremiah and Conrad's mum, she is the one that really wants this summer to be the perfect summer, right? She has brought her kids and she sees Belly as basically like her daughter, even though she's not. And she wants to create the perfect summer. And she's almost in her mind imagined that Belly will end up with one of her sons because she just sees this as like the perfect ending to like this life that they've created together where these two families are just interwoven and full of love and the reason she's so wanting this summer to be the time when all of this kind of comes to fruition is because she is dying of cancer and she believes it to be her last summer with this family situation, which is tragic, but it almost frames this situation as like inevitable because she is like creating the circumstances for it all to happen and she wants to create this perfect summer. She's the one that signs Belly up to the debutante ball and
she buys her sexy clothes.
Yeah. And she's like, you know, she's doing all these paintings of all of them. She has idealized the summers past and wants to recreate it, but also with them growing up and to know that her kids are going to be okay and that they're going to be happy.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy as that, I guess, in reality.
Is what makes it interesting. We should say in season 1, I agree with you, the mums are complicit. Yeah. They see this little drama happening and think, oh, that's funny. Or, you know, or not funny.
Or just like,
really
that's
into
lovely.
It.
Like, yes, of course, Belly, be with one of them. Doesn't matter which.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I know, in hindsight, I really wish Susanna had been, although I was going to say I wish she had been more directed, but it does feel like Susanna is the initial Belly and Conrad shipper.
Yeah.
That she feels that it is Conrad who's destined for Belly. And Susanna and Laurel, everyone knows that
well, I think
Belly loves
everyone
Conrad.
knows, Belly has had a crush on Conrad previously, right? But just as like a little girl crush.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's aware of that. And so they're coming into this summer with that knowledge of like, oh, maybe this will be the time when it happens. But actually turning like a little girl crush into something real is not as easy as that.
No. And actually, a good way of going through this is there are so many things to list about the quality of this show, why it's compelling, why season 1 is such a piece of art. It's only 7 episodes long. It's not long at all.
Yeah.
These are 40-minute episodes, and it's so tightly structured. And we've already said that this is about a clever dynamic, about kind of that transitional stage between being sort of a tween and a teen, I think. And there's this love triangle element. But a huge part of this is the Belly obsession with Conrad as we come into season 1 is so deeply relatable to anyone who was a teenager and had an unrequited love.
Yeah.
I did. It sucked. Like, when I was watching this show, I thought, shit,
Oh, no.
I get it. Like, but and it's written so sensitively, and it's so all the camera work, everything in season 1 is done in such a way that is through Belly's lens, and a lot of people talked about like the female gaze in this show. But you were referring to the entry montage where the car pulls up and the 2 boys come out to see her, and Jeremiah says, "Oh, look who came back all grown up." But when Conrad comes out, it's in slow-mo. It's got Taylor Swift playing over. His hair is all floppy. And you think... and Belly looks at him in the way that, to her mind, Conrad is in a movie to her. And it's shot that way. And Belly vocalizes at certain points across the whole show that she's painfully aware of him. She always knows where he is. And the camera is always doing that. It sometimes cuts to him looking at her. It cuts to her looking at him. And so season 1 is done so well because you think, I really, really believe that there is a diary somewhere where Belly has the words Conrad written in glitter over and over again.
Yeah.
And that is also an interesting aspect of seasons 1 and 2, which is how do you kind of let that love die? Or how do you make space for somebody else? Which is then, of course, the whole love triangle drama.
Yeah. No, and I think it's interesting because it depends where you put your perspective, right? If you keep yourself in Belly's perspective, then of course it's Conrad, because that is her mind. But if you watch the scene from like an observational perspective, you can be like, well, Conrad looks like he's kind of moody. Kind of like not interested. Like, why not look like the other guy who's like being really friendly and really nice, like really excited to see you? And you're like, that's the difference. Is like that kind of tunnel vision of when you're a teenager compared to like the reality of the situation. I don't know.
There is so much interesting discussion to be had about when through season 1, 2, and then eventually we're going to record season 3, when you, the viewer, are aligned with Belly, who is also our narrator, because we have her voiceovers all through season 1, all through season 2, with one POV episode from Jeremiah, which he narrates, and we'll talk about that later. But it's interesting that you're saying, even from season 1, you start to come out of alignment with Belly because you're going, look at this other guy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right away.
Yeah, okay.
Right away.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
And at what point she isn't following her own advice or isn't listening to... Basically, by the time the seasons go on, Belly also becomes an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Conrad in season 1 was that for a while, for quite a few episodes, you think that he's just being a douchebag.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
There's this like thread that there's something wrong with him. He's come back this summer really moody, and nobody really knows why. Nobody's got an idea. He's just like, and so the first impression of him is that he's just like a kind of moody teenager that doesn't want to get involved with the family stuff anymore and like has a chip on his shoulder for no good reason. And I guess it's interesting that like inevitably that gets like solved, and like we learn that he's not just a douchebag, right? He's, you know, working through a whole load of issues with what's going on with his mum and whatever.
Yeah, it's that he knows that his mum is dying of cancer.
And nobody else knows, and nobody else knows he knows.
Yeah.
And he also knows that his dad's cheated on his mum, and nobody else knows that.
Yeah,
and
he's holding a lot of painful stuff.
He's holding a lot of stuff, but it does mean that for the first few episodes, he is just like a bit of a moody bitch. Yeah, no good reason.
Yeah. And the structure has to sustain that, because before we even meet Conrad, he is teed up as Belly's there's that great opening conversation with Taylor where Taylor, her best friend, is like, what's your summer wish? You want Conrad's tongue in your mouth. It's like a brilliant thing. Yeah. So there's a wonderful friendship discussion where we, the viewer, are anticipating Belly's kind of desperate love for Conrad. But you're right, when he's introduced, he's distant, he's moody. This is just me, but I still think teenagers love that, but whatever. But you're right, there's something we have to believe that the parents and Belly are right when they say to him, like, this isn't like you.
Yes, we have to...
But this is not the normal Conrad.
Yes, there's like this feeling of like, we have seen the happy Conrad. I think there might even be flashbacks occasionally.
There are, and that helps.
Yeah, and that helps, which means that you know that he's not normally like this. But I kind of assumed, I think, before everything was revealed, I did kind of assume that he was just turning into... He was just going through a moody teenager phase.
Yeah.
And that happens. That can happen. So, yeah, it was... But yes, we have to keep believing from Belly that... and from his family that he is normally different and something is wrong. And that does end up being the case.
And we get the revelation of Conrad's character in reverse, because I like in season 3 that season 1, as it goes on, that we start to get glimpses of happier Conrad at times. And you think, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
The odd smile.
Oh, even when he teams up with her in the volleyball tournament.
Yes,
and
nice.
When he is on good form, you think, oh, I get this.
Yeah.
It's this guy. I even think at the end of that season, there's a wonderful bit where he says to Jeremiah and Stephen, like, I'm sorry I've been awful all summer. It's been a lot, etc. But we see glimpses of why Belly does feel the way that she does about him, and that's more revelatory to the viewer. But he's a moody guy for quite a bit of this.
All right, so we talked about the fact that there's these two teams. That's like one core part of why it works. There's the fact that like we relate to Belly and we like see things through her eyes. I think another key part of what makes it really work, especially in season 1, is we've talked about this beach house. It's the framing and having a really tight framing device for the show, which is this location, this place, this town cousins and the beach house physically, and a time, like a place and a time, and the time is just the summer. So you know the scope.
Yes.
Like you really have a clear understanding of what the scope of this show is going to be, and somehow that really makes it work.
Yes, it does.
And it means that visually everything like looks nice together, because you've got this this setting with the waves and the beach and the town and everything. That's
very Abercrombie.
Yeah.
That's the aesthetic.
Oh yeah, it's very wealthy. That was actually something I found really interesting in season 1 that I think they dropped. I don't know whether it comes back, but in season 2 I felt like they missed this whole storyline, which was that in season 1 we are aware that the boys' family is wealthy and that Belly's family with Laurel, they are not as wealthy. They're fine, but they are not super rich beach house owning people. They're just like regular family.
Yeah.
And Laurel's relationship with Susanna, as much as they love each other and they're best friends and they've come every year, there are quite a few times where Laurel doesn't want Susanna to spend money on something for her because she feels like that indebted, and she doesn't like the fact that Susanna's just going to buy Belly's dress. She's like, that's my daughter. Like I should be buying the dress. And there was this like there was this feeling of the two families being from slightly different worlds that I do think we lost in season 2.
You're so right. I hadn't thought about the very steep move away from that.
Yeah.
Because it does drive almost all of the subplots as well in season 1. Like Stephen and Shayla's romance faces that challenge over and over again.
Yeah, because Stephen is Belly's older brother, we haven't really spoken about, who's best friends with Jeremiah and Conrad. And he's working all summer, like working all summer, desperate to make money to go to university. Like he's saving up the money for going to university and ends up, well, I thought for ages that he was going to end up having to spend all his money on the tux for Shayla's
prom outfit or whatever.
Yeah. Like there was this endless conversation about how much she was spending on her dress and that he needed a tux that was going to live up to this and blah, 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 blah. I thought that was where it was going to go, but it actually ended up even weirder. He ended up gambling it all away with some rich kids that don't care about money and therefore losing hundreds of dollars in a night didn't matter to them. And that was really interesting that he was that dynamic of the two families just being in different being in different places, class wise and money wise, even though they spend the same summer together. Got kind of a bit lost.
Yeah, it's a huge part of season 1. It's something that Taylor comments on again and again. It is the whole driving force behind Belly doesn't feel comfortable at the country club initially. Yeah. There is the iconography of they go on one of their super yachts and play that Never Have I Ever game on a super yacht. So time and time again, we're reminded that you're completely right, that family is from a different economic bracket and it is a big driving. We must say it's never actually a tension between the central characters, as in Belly, Jeremiah, Conrad, Stephen, never have any sort of tension about who's richer than who, but it very much plays out across the other characters.
Oh, I'd agree, yeah.
And it's sort of abandoned as a source of dramatic tension from post season 1. I think in season 2 we're reminded occasionally that the boys have trust funds.
Yes. But that's almost seen as just a given. It's they're going to use the trust fund to buy the house or whatever. It's they don't see that. There's no tension in that. There's no oh my God, that you guys can buy a house from your trust fund and
Yeah, you're right. It's just a given.
It's just of course that's what they're going to do.
Conrad's trying to find a local lawyer who can help him access his $1 million trust fund. And I'm this is a normal problem for a 19-year-old to have. Fine. Actually, the opposite of that is something that I love about season 1, which is that while it is an aspirational show, it's not like Gossip Girl or the OC, but there's definitely that undercurrent of wealth in it. What I love is how much time the show spends in the smaller, more relatable moments. It doesn't actually spend a lot of time trying to impress the viewer with the country club or this. That's not where it goes. It does all the little moments that every regular teenager recognizes. Drama happens at the beach bonfire, or they play Never Have I Ever, or Taylor gives Belly what she thinks is a sexy dress. You know, and you think, oh God, it hits all of the really classic teenage beats. So almost anyone who has had a teenage female experience, I don't know, as generally as we can say, can find something, I think, in season 1 where you're oh God, yeah, I recognize that. Oh yeah.
For sure. And you know what is more relatable and it just kind of keeps it apart from all those shows where, you have lots of really wealthy teenagers, is that they're not nasty.
Yes, they're not nasty.
Even
That's
the girls,
right.
even the girls at the debutantes or whatever, who you think are going to be played as the mean girls.
Yeah, they're not.
They're actually not. They never really are.
Yeah.
And in Belly's eyes, when she first meets them, she's a little bit intimidated by them and doesn't really fit in with them right away. But by the end, they're friends.
Yep.
And they really are not bitchy mean girls flaunting their money. They just are normal girls trying to get through the summer and this like this weirdness, and they want to have fun and they want to party and they want to like the boys and whatever, but they're not cruel to each other.
No.
In a way that's actually quite different from a lot of the shows that we grew up with.
Yeah, the show is subtler than that, actually. It doesn't need to play those classic teen drama cards.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit more cleverly done. And the other reason I think it's nostalgic for me as a viewer, apart from it being about the teenage experience, is the books came out from around 2009. And despite the fact that the show is set in the contemporary day. So this is being shot and delivered on TV from about 2022 to 2025. So it was meant to be then. But like there's a real notable absence of like drama around social media. No one is, it doesn't feel like it has all the crazy, nasty drama that sits it very firmly in 2025. This feels like a 2009 to 2011
I guess
show.
so. I guess that stuff is just not interesting for TV. Like,
yeah, it's not. But I'm glad they didn't go there.
Too much. Like, I mean, they text each other and whatever. But yeah, trying to design a show around mobile phones, which people have done with shows where they've really tried to integrate like mobile phones and social media and stuff into it, but it's hard and it can take away from like real world drama.
But it feels like the fabric of the show exists in that more like physical realm that even takes it back to the things that are the very, very groundwork of like romantic drama. Like Jane Austen is about balls and dancing and who steps forward to do what dance and learning the dance steps. And I thought, oh God, I love this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or who is making eyes at who across a dinner. And it really does that. And you've got the friend who's a confidant, and it has the real ancient bread and butter of these coming of age stories.
Yeah.
And it's not afraid to use those in the more classic sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, we talked a little bit about Conrad. What about Jeremiah in season 1?
I mean, Jeremiah's just having a good time, isn't he?
Isn't he? He is a good time.
He's just having fun. He's the younger brother, I guess. They're a year apart.
Yeah, they're very close in age. He's a year younger.
But he's like clearly the one that is like well known in the town as well. He's like at all the parties. He was having a good time. But he's like, they make him out to be like the cool one that's like going to all the parties and having a great time. But he's not distant. That doesn't mean that he feels like he needs to distance himself from Belly. He's just like wants to include her, and like he's just like he's just a positive person. As I said, he clearly likes Belly basically straight away. Whether he knows masses about like Belly liking Conrad right from the beginning, I don't know.
The scope of there could be a whole micro essay called "What Does Jeremiah Know?"
Yeah, true.
Through season 1 and 2. The whole premise of his character is he is the light of the party. He's funny. He's positive.
Yeah.
He is a glass half full and Conrad is a glass half empty.
For sure, yeah.
And that's part of their dynamic. But it is made clear in season 1, he's not carrying any of the weight of any of those things that Conrad knows.
No. And that's
he has no idea.
That's the reason for the difference in their personalities in the first half of the season is like Conrad... We don't know, but Conrad is carrying all these like, dark, depressing secrets.
Their mum is dying.
Jeremiah knows none of it.
No. He doesn't know about his dad cheating on his mum. He doesn't know any of that.
No, he doesn't. And therefore he can't quite understand what's wrong with Conrad.
Yeah.
And he just wants to have a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that can leave a bit of like shallowness to the character compared to Conrad, but I didn't see it that way. I think I just saw it as like, that isn't what he knows. He hasn't been told. Like, that's not his fault that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Conrad was being the, older brother that feels like he has to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. He could have spoken to someone, It's not like Conrad kind of put himself in that position by not talking to his mum, not talking to his dad, not talking to his brother. And so, yeah, Jeremiah is just here to have another awesome summer. And I don't think that's necessarily wrong. And when he does find out what's going on, I think he's frustrated a bit that he didn't, that his older brother didn't confide in him or didn't trust him to take things seriously or whatever.
I mean, later we have to compare season 1 and season 2, but it's as if Conrad, to my mind, gets a bit of a pass in season 1 because his behavior is what it is because we're told he knows all of this stuff, and who wouldn't be weighed down by that?
Yeah.
Obviously, teenage mistake to not. You do think, why haven't you talked to your mum? Why haven't you talked to someone? Like, why haven't you told Jeremiah? And it's because he's doing this whole hero complex of, I'm going to take it on myself, I'm going to digest it. But in season 2, when we get to this, the pass is over for Conrad because both of these boys lose their mum. Both of these boys know what they know. And now we're going to compare their behaviour on a par. Yeah. Whereas in season 1, we get to say, okay, look, Jeremiah's still having a good time because of course he can. He's free from this knowledge. And he does feel like Belly's best friend. The scenes that he's in are great fun. Yeah. Like he instigates that sort of dance party at the Deb Ball rehearsals. He's funny. You see his relationship with Stephen. And I like the little glimpses that you get of the brothers' relationship. It does seem like they truly get on.
He's also bi. He's like making out with guys half the time. He's also making out with loads of girls. Like he's just like, having a great time.
Yeah, that's it. He's just like free and like he just loves love.
Yeah. But he also really clearly likes Belly. Yes. Right from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he doesn't do anything to hurt her. Like once he like, I don't know, once he has in his mind that he might be able to have something with Belly, he stops making out with the guys and whatever. You know, he is genuinely like, he cares about her.
Yeah. A lot of the sort of Team Conrad narrative would say, why did Jeremiah ever go there? Like, why start this? But in season 1, he is part of the general knowledge group that know Belly has had a crush on Conrad, but he does not think Conrad's interested in her. No. Until really quite late on, it comes as a bit of a shock. Yeah. He kind of thinks Belly is blissfully unaware that either of them are even, and it's when he sees Conrad almost kiss her on the pier that the jealousy kicks in. I remember literally going, he's gonna shoot a firework at his own brother? Like, I am in.
Yeah, that was a little bit overdramatic.
Yeah. But he also calls Conrad out on his shit. Like, he says to him, like, whatever you have with Dad, squash it. Yeah. You're ruining it for us. Like, stop being so moody and dramatic because, like, come on. Obviously, he doesn't understand the extent of it. And the season does end with Jeremiah finding out that his mum is dying of cancer. Yeah. And finding out that Conrad knew. Yeah. And he hits him. Yeah. It's dramatic. Yeah. At the Deb Ball. Yeah. It's very OC. When they were getting ready for the Deb Ball, I just immediately thought, there's going to be a fight here. There's like 100% going to be a fight here. And whoever filmed that has so watched the Deb Ball sequence from the OC, because when Belly is there in her dress, there's a shot of like Conrad looking at her and her looking at him, a bit like, you know, Ben McKenzie looking at Misha Barton. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nostalgic. What else works for you about season 1? Because it is just like a cream cake. It's perfect. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Well, I think, as I was saying, like this like concept of time and this like the Deb Ball thing kind of marks the beginning and the end of summer, and it kind of creates a story that is well structured. I think that works. I guess we haven't talked about like one of the classic hallmarks of a great teenage TV show, which is the parents' equivalent storylines, and like following those storylines as well.
Cleveland,
yeah. That's a great
so
one.
What do you think of these? What do you think about what happens to Laurel and Susanna in their storylines?
That's fun. I think, as you said earlier, when you said like, oh no, I can really relate to them. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice seeing those characters, the adult characters, being seen as real people who still have like interesting romantic lives and it's not played as like
the boring
less
parents.
important, or like boring. Yeah, it's still an interesting and intriguing storyline, and I do think Susanna is quite an interesting character. She almost is this like, she's the reason that the whole show exists in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's the reason they're all in this place at this time, and they all clearly love her. So it's interesting having this thread of sadness throughout the first season, because while it's all quite light and it's teenage drama, actually quite a lot of the reason why things aren't working out in a particular way is because of this much, much more serious storyline, which is that she's dying.
Yeah. And it's so sad.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You're right. There's a rain cloud over the whole of season 1. And that's part of what elevates it above some of these more silly teenage shows. And I'm never sure throughout season 1 who's making the right decision communicatively, because while we were saying Conrad doesn't choose to share his feelings and that's his decision, Susanna as well has taken a really particular choice to not tell her own children that she's really soon going to die. Yeah. But she does either confide in, or if we were being cynical, burden her best friend with that knowledge.
And with the responsibility of keeping it secret.
Yeah, and it's in the script. It's also implied that Laurel is really going to parent the boys once she dies, or at least spend a considerable amount of time with them. It's part of the reason she feels she can't get into something with Cleveland. She says, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Boston. Like I'm preparing myself to have to go and step in her place. It's really, really severe. And so you do sort of think throughout the show, oh God, Susanna, have you done the right thing? I don't know. And it's revealed she doesn't want to take on additional treatment. And you, the viewer, are sort of like, I can't take it. Oh.
And you have to like respect this choice of this dying woman. But at the same point, you're like, oh, she is being very naive in like trying to recreate this kind of perfect summer.
Yep. And in many ways, if you're going to put Belly in like a load of nice outfits and dress her up in her and have her dance to Taylor Swift with your sons, you're going to leave a mess, lady. Like, you are leaving a teenage puddle of mess.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go and die. But when it gets to the last sort of 2 episodes, there are moments when I'm heartbroken in this show. It's locked me in. Like, it's only, like I said, 7 short episodes. But the first moment where I thought, I'm actually, like, this is breaking my heart, is when Conrad has formed one of the best micro relationships in the show. He's really bonded with Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Because an underlying sadness to Conrad is he's fallen out with his dad, who was his best friend. There is a sense that he and his dad did football together. He is the beloved son of his dad. But he has found out that his dad cheated on his mum with his secretary while his mum was going through cancer treatment the first time around. And Conrad is done with his dad. Doesn't want anything. He's done with him. And that again leaves a void for anyone for him to talk to. But he starts teaching Cleveland, how to sail.
To do like knots and stuff.
Yeah. And it kind of brings him out of himself.
Yes.
They start talking about girls. It's a really like lovely adult teenager relationship.
And it's an opportunity for us to see Conrad more in his like natural environment and not completely shut down.
Yeah, and to trust to be open with an adult. Like Laurel tries to talk to him and he's
not having it.
Although actually, I mean, that's beautifully shot. Laurel tries to talk to him and find out what's wrong, and Conrad goes to say, and they get cut off. Conrad is going to tell Laurel and someone comes outside or something.
Right.
But he ends up telling Cleveland. And Chris Briney is such a good actor, but it's that moment where he says, "It's my mom," and he just like his face just breaks, and I was like, I can't bear it. And he kind of lets that burden go to Cleveland. Poor Cleveland. Cleveland's like,
oh my God, myself into
Cleveland's like, I'm accidentally sleeping with the mum of the daughter that my teenage sailing instructor is getting with, and the mum who is the best friend of the woman I'm sleeping with is dying. Why did I ask for these sailing lessons again? Like, Cleveland is standing at the precipice of like a drama he really does not need to be involved in.
But I think what works about having this much more serious storyline is it reminds you that, like, it doesn't take away from the fact that the teenage romance is still very important.
Yes.
It's like, it could so easily be like, oh, she's dying and therefore nothing else matters. And this romance doesn't matter and this silly squabble doesn't matter. And it absolutely never does that.
Yes.
It's like, your mum can be dying and also love and growing up is still difficult and important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And those two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the summer, in that very, like you said, that very cohesive atmosphere, that very cohesive setting, we're at the beach. Your little romantic dramas feel like the most important thing in the whole world. They feel so, so important. Were there any moments in season 1 that you felt were fantastic sequences, scenes, or set pieces, or moments where you were like, I love that?
I had just been reminiscing when we were talking about the Mean Girls. I'd kind of forgotten about the whole sequence where they have their clothes stolen while they're swimming.
It's so good. Yeah.
Which is hilarious. It's probably one of the only, like, kind of silly teen Mean Girl moments that does exist, but it's actually, and it's quite funny because it sets up, so Belly and Taylor, I think, are swimming. They've gone skinny dipping with a whole load of the girls. They've been hanging out with all the other debutante girls, and one of them sees a text on Belly's phone from Conrad
saying, I wanted to ask you to the ball myself. Like, I asked you because I wanted to.
And this is the girl who's meant to be going, like, to the ball with Conrad and is, like, kind of dating Conrad or whatever. And she sees this text, and all these other girls just, like, get out of the sea and take their clothes and, like, just abandon Belly and Taylor completely naked in them. So they then have to call the boys to, like, come and rescue them. And it's silly. Like, it sets up this, like, oh my God, they're naked and the boys are gonna have to, like, hold a towel so they can, like, get dressed.
But it works so well.
It's really sweet. So, like, both of them I think Conrad and Jeremiah are, like, mad at each other at the time as well. So they, like, both come, but, like, it's like, which of them is going to be more like the hero? Like, it's cute.
It's in the same episode where the boys have started to realise that a competition exists between them, which they otherwise hadn't.
Yeah.
And when they start to realise that the other one likes Belly, and it becomes who's going to take her to the ball and this sort of thing, it's so tension filled. That is a lovely moment.
Yeah.
I love the volleyball tournament.
Yes.
It goes on for too long. It's the Summer I Turned Pretty occasionally spends too long in certain montages. Like, when we talk about season 2, we'll talk about the, like, boardwalk showdown or whatever it is. And I'm like, how long has this laser tag sequence gone on for? But in season 1, I'm like, we're really watching a lot of volleyball.
You know what I reckon that is?
This is a lot.
I reckon you sometimes get that in adaptations of books where, like, there's some iconic scene in a book that people, like, know as being really important, and somehow when you adapt it, you then, like, indulge in that thing a little bit too much.
Interesting.
I often think that. I'm like, oh, they're making a big deal about this, probably because it was, like, an iconic part of the book.
Which we should say, for reference, neither of us have read.
No.
So as we're talking about these seasons and as we're speculating about what happens, like, I personally am mid-season 3, so I have no clue.
No.
We do not know who Belly picks.
Who's gonna win?
Who is gonna win?
All right.
At all. And before we move off of season 1, is when we think about the dynamic between the two, because we're going to compare it to season 3. We have talked about what's going on for Conrad and what his character is like in season 1, and same for Jeremiah. But what do you think about Belly and her romantic interaction with the two of them in turn as it exists in season 1?
Yeah, it's interesting because, obviously the Conrad obsession has been a long-lasting, deep underlying crush / obsession. You know, it's been around, and therefore she goes into the summer expecting to continue that, right? And she does, and she still like lusts after him. But I think because he is so at various points like cold and moody and whatever, she like tries her best to kind of be into Jeremiah, and she's almost taken aback, I think, by Jeremiah being into her.
She is. She
just like had no idea, which is silly. Like, it was very obvious to everybody.
She's also surprised by Conrad's interest in her.
Yeah.
She wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And their little sequence on the pier, he says to her, like, you don't know the effect that you have on people.
Yeah.
And she really doesn't.
No.
She's surprised that she's turned pretty.
Yes, she is.
Even Taylor has to say that to her at the start. She's like, you look a lot different than you did last summer. Or like other people are saying to her, you're hot now.
Yeah.
Susanna even says, wow, she's gorgeous. Like there's the rest of the cast comment on the fact, and maybe actually that's a criticism of the show, that Belly's, and that's why I'm criticizing the title. I think there's more to Belly becoming a sort of object of people's interest and affection than just the fact that she's suddenly a bit hot.
Yeah, I don't get the impression that is why they're all interested. They're all interested in her partly because she's pretty, but partly, like more importantly, because they just like really want to hang out with her. Like they really like her. And they have fun time together, and she's like an engaging person to be around, and she's quite competitive, and she's like she takes charge of situations, and like, you know, even when she's a bit awkward or funny, she's like she's somebody who wants to have fun, and like she's an engaging person to be around.
I totally agree. It's just that the script says it a lot, which I felt was unnecessary, because that's right, the drama is, and Lola Tongue is so good, because in the same way that Jeremiah is great fun, like I can see why these boys do love Belly. She's great fun.
Yeah.
And I like that she's competitive and she's bright. And to wrap up her dynamic with Conrad before we kind of turn to Jeremiah briefly, is that I like that she is not just enthralled to him. She's not pathetic. She's not someone, you know, lusting after this unrequited object of her affection. While we go through season 1, the couple of times that Conrad is just a teenage boy to her and sort of takes back the things that he said to her and is crap at communicating, she calls him out on it. She sort of stands her ground a bit more. But that's offset with the lovely moments where she acts exactly as you do act in front of someone you're obsessed with, like the fabulous when she's a bit drunk and she says, I love your hair, it's so romantic when it's wet. And he's like, what? And you just think, it's the kind of rubbish that she just has like word vomit around him, and it's so accurate. When they get to the climax of their relationship and you get him step up to do the dance at the dead ball, and then you get their scene on the beach, what did you feel as a viewer in that moment?
Oh, it was lovely. Yeah. I mean, it felt almost like inevitable.
Yes.
It felt like this is what we've been set up for.
Yes.
Like you couldn't really imagine it
any other way
differently.
Yes, that's
because
right.
It would be weird.
That's right. When Jeremiah takes her to the dead ball, I remember thinking, the night's not going to end this way. Like, this isn't happening this way. This is not how this goes down.
Yeah.
Like, Conrad's there in a suit.
Yeah.
Why has he even come along if he's not? Like, why is he wasting his evening with this? He's just sitting at the parent table. Yeah. And then when it's clear Jeremiah is delayed to come and join her for the dance.
Isn't that because he's just found out about his mum?
He has. That's it. He has found out that his mum has cancer, and so obviously is excused from coming back and doing their little dance.
But she does need saving.
Yeah. So. Conrad steps up, and the camera work and everything in season 1 is telling the viewer, this is Conrad's season.
Yeah.
He is framed as the kind of prince who steps up to do the dance, and it's so beautiful, their chemistry, their eye contact in that dance. But after that, I remember thinking, as we go very quickly into a heartbreaking sequence of And it is heartbreaking. The boys have found out, they're crying. Do you remember Laurel, Stephen and Belly are all crying? They're in Belly's like bedroom together and saying she's not going to make it.
The boys are like begging for her to do the extra treatment, like the trials and stuff, and she finally agrees.
Yeah.
But like, it's really devastating.
I remember thinking, is this where we're going to leave this season? Like, I thought we were going to leave this season with a sort of Belly Conrad thing, which we then do. But when it cuts to Conrad sitting on the beach, I think, oh, good, I'm right. We're going to end with a Belly Conrad kiss, which we do. But Jeremiah and Belly had some times. They have a kiss in the pool. Yeah. And in the car. Yeah. They sort of like start off pretty strong.
I do remember thinking like, Belly, you do kind of just need to like make up your mind.
Yeah, pick one of these dudes.
Like part of the problem is not that like both of them like her, is that if she just chose one rather than the other, then everything would be fine.
Yep.
But she doesn't. She just keeps keeping her options open.
Yes, that's right. It does take her all of 5 seconds for Conrad to have like almost kissed her on the pier. She looks like she's having an almost out-of-body experience in that moment. Yeah. And then, like, about an episode later, she's just, like, nodding at Jeremiah, like, yeah, cool, you can kiss me in the pool. I was like, you are creating a mess of your own making here.
I'm gonna ask you, which is your favourite kiss from season 1, then?
Oh.
Because I know which mine is, and it's not going to be the same as yours.
I'm having to review them in my mind. So what do we have as contenders? We have Belly and Jeremiah in the pool. Yeah. That is... Well, her first kiss is with Cam Cameron. We're going to rule that out. So he's not on it. He doesn't make the list. Sorry, Cam Cameron.
Forgot about him.
He comes back in season 2. We'll get to him. He is the first one. And then we have Jeremiah, Belly in the pool, Jeremiah, Belly in the car. Yeah. And the Conrad kiss on the beach at the end. Yeah. Are those what's in contention?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I'm so Team Conrad that it has to be the Conrad kiss on the beach at the end for me. But that is because the minute we start having the Jeremiah story, I'm kind of going, oh no, Belly, you're going to create a disaster for yourself. But maybe for me, the hottest moment of that whole show is the almost kiss on the pier, to be honest. I think that's the best one. The one that doesn't happen with false god. And I'm like, oh my God, what? I'm dying. What's happening here? So that one, the non-kiss on the pier for me. Go on, what is yours?
It's the pool. It's the pool. It's the pool 100%. Yeah. And I think that was the only one that gave me like actual butterflies. And I think part of it is like, first of all, I'm going to put myself out there that I do find Jeremiah hotter than Conrad.
He's a hot guy.
Like, fine, whatever. But I think it's that feeling of her realizing, like, oh my God, like, oh, this guy likes me. Mm-hmm. Like, what? And going with that moment. Yeah. Like, I found that to be almost more interesting than the fulfilling of like a long-lasting crush. Is that like, in this moment being like, oh, I can do something like right now. Like, yes. Great.
Yes. Yes. And actually, despite me saying it has to be the kind of Conrad kiss for me, the reason I rule out that beach one in favour of the pier is that I think it's a less interesting kiss when you're like, oh, and this is the Prince Charming narrative, and now they have this almost Disney kiss on the beach. Yeah. It's one of my, in terms of Conrad Belly kisses going forward, it's probably one of my least favourite, the kiss on the beach, because it feels too Disney World to me. Well, not Disney World, but I like the surprise of, like, she's like, oh wow. Jeremiah. I think she even says, like, it's quite hot. Yeah. she's sort of shocked. Yeah. Whereas I can't get past the slightly more staged framing of Conrad and Belly on the beach. And I want that kiss to be hotter than it is. But it's season 1. It's pretty PG, where we're not really getting any serious material out of any of this in season 1.
All right. So, are we done with season 1, do we think?
I think, well, last question, and then we might take a little break and do season 2. When you got to the end of season 1, with no knowledge of what happens going forwards, what did you think was going to happen in season 2? What did you want to happen in season 2? Like, what material did you expect to get out? Because it could have ended there.
Good question.
That could have been the end.
Yeah, good question. I think One thing I really assumed, which I was wrong about, was I assumed Susanna was going to get better.
Absolutely.
I assumed that this whole, like, she's now going to do the trial thing meant that was going to be their way out of the whole thing and she was going to get better. So I kind of then assumed that we would get another summer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that was like the framing. So I was like, oh, well, I guess we're going to have to do this again. Because
yes. Oh no, we'll have to come back to Cousins Beach.
Yeah, obviously there would have to be differences and there would have to be like changes of dynamic and whatever. But yeah, I don't know whether I had any other expectations.
Did you want her to be with Conrad going forward, or did you think, I want to actually see some drama next season? Like, I think, like, I'm here for a Jeremiah season.
Yeah, no, I think I expected there to be more drama.
Yeah.
It would be surprised. Like, it didn't feel finished in
Yes.
season 1.
And it isn't, because at the end of season 1, Jeremiah thinks he's in the middle of a romantic thing with Belly. He has no idea.
They're both convinced that they're on.
There is actually a brilliant kind of image that comes up again and again, and it's in every season, where the show continuously talks about this idea of thinking you're the main character in your own story.
Yes, yeah.
And Taylor and Belly both use that at times when they have a bit of a fallout in season 1. Belly feels like she's been she calls it like the side character in Taylor's story. And Taylor says at one point, like, Belly, I feel like your side character or something. They both
she literally is.
She is. Yeah. She is.
Yeah.
And at the same time, as we go through the seasons, Jeremiah talks about our story, him and Belly. We're it. We're the narrative. Like, we're the thing. And the viewer's kind of going, but wait,
really?
aren't we actually in Conrad and Belly's show? Oh, I don't know. And this idea of whose story is it and who is the main character, and it swaps per season. So that's where maybe we move on to season 2 in that. So season 1 is framed as the Belly and Conrad mega narrative, and then it changes. And on that note, we'll return with season 2. You've been listening to the Fangirl Diaries. Follow us on Instagram at Fangirl Diaries Pod.
And do share us with any of your friends that you think might enjoy the podcast, and rate or review us on Spotify or Apple Music.